Welcome to 3Bs on a Mission. Healing your inner child while your adult self sets better boundaries. That's
Amen.
what we do here. Yeah, exactly. Or at least that's what we're trying to learn how to do here. How you
Live
ladies
it.
doing this week? What's going on?
Ooh.
Mr. B's with us. I see his little head.
Yes,
What's going on,
he is
Mr.
with
B?
us today. You know,
3
living the
Bs and a
dream
Mr.
like
B.
his mother.
You're living the dream,
He's over
Tully?
here licking
What's
his
going on
feet?
with you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Not a thing, huh? Okay.
No, I'm going to see Cardi B on Monday in Toronto
Amazing. Amazing.
in the front
That's
row,
so awesome.
in the
That's so
center
awesome.
of one of the little offshoots that she goes off on. I'm
Hey,
very
listen,
excited.
I got a trip for us that we
girl.
need to take. We need to just hop the train and go down into the city and go see Moulin Rouge with Megan Thee Stallion down there. Okay.
Please, oh my God.
You know, so
Joanna
I'm
and I
thinking
were
like
just talking about that.
I'm thinking like maybe that'll be like a summer trip we could do. Like just hop the train
my
and go down
God.
because that would be
I'm
worth
for
it.
it.
She is
Did you
killing
see
it
how
on
she
Broadway.
performed a couple of her
Yes, at the
bops?
end. Yes.
I was
yes,
like,
I'm all over that.
what?
You kidding me? That's my girl right there. Okay. Like she's amazing. That woman.
Megan.
If you don't know her backstory and anybody who's watching us, like, man, check that woman out because I'm telling you right now, she is a force. You want to talk about somebody, and G
She's
and
a
I were talking about this.
savage.
Yeah,
And she's
you
so
want to talk
smart
about
too.
you want to talk about somebody who's an empress? Like that woman, she has created her own pathway. Like she's had a whole come up and built this amazing career for herself. Now she's on Broadway. She's an amazing performer and went out and got her nursing degree at the same time.
Right?
Like
'Cause
this
why
woman
not?
is so badass. Is like unreal.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
She is
And
a
knows her
queen.
worth. Knows her worth.
That's amazing.
Okay?
Show enough.
That
and
woman
gorgeous,
is like
for God's sakes.
God. Yes. Okay. I digress. All right. Anything else, G? What's going on with you? Any highlights?
Chilling.
Same old. Okay. All right. How about we do
Same old.
How about we do some affirmations? You ladies ready to change your subconscious programming?
Yes. No, I'm just gonna, state some facts. Like
No. Okay.
I am a boss bitch, calling shots
Okay.
and getting what I want.
Okay. All right. It's incredible.
Okay.
I love
I got
that.
it. I
All right,
received
Tully,
it.
what you got?
Received it.
I embrace my own flaws and turn them into strengths. Thank you very much.
I love that.
Thank you very much.
I love that. You know, that is something that you have to do. You have to acknowledge your flaws, your shadows, and be like, yeah, well, this is part of me, but hey, I accept that and I know how to move. And there you go. I love that, Tully. Mine is I walk into every room and set the vibe.
Boom.
Set it.
that's-
It moves when you
that's-
walk in.
I love it.
Exactly. Boom. That's it. Okay, so I have a couple of quick things to share this week.
Okay.
So on the last episode, I talked about which became the come up for my own self-worth and that lesson that I needed to learn and my wrecking as well. Okay. So I learned my lesson. If you didn't watch that episode, when you're on these journeys, whether spiritual awakening or twin flame, one of the things is like you're asked to let go and develop a trust in God's source creator, the universe, however you see it. Okay. And to just trust, don't question, don't ask, don't demand timelines.
Don't
And so,
do that.
yeah, if you do, I mean, you can do it, but then you're going to probably
Except
experience
3
what
more
happened to
deaths.
me. Okay. Because the reason is not just to be like punish you and to be mean. It's not that. It's that they're trying to develop this sense of faith and trust between you. So you need to trust is that everything that is for you is already done. It's done and it's in motion and you are walking with it, to it, alongside. I don't know how that works, but anyways, you are moving with it. Okay.
Right.
So you asking those questions almost kind of denies the fact that those things are already there. So they're trying to realign you and teach you these things. Okay, so I did the stupid thing. I asked something and it was related to one of my journeys. And I asked for a ridiculous sign. Okay, it was like this most absurd sign to
Yeah.
confirm what I was asking about. Oh, um, and I'll even share what it was. What's the most random like animal I could ask? Like, hey, if this
A
is a thing, I'm
capybara,
like, oh no, but I should have. That would have been a good one. No, I
right?
asked. I
They're
was like,
cute.
okay, show me. This is the first thing that came to mind. Show me a skunk. When am I gonna see that? All right. I'm like it. I just wouldn't see that in my everyday. Like I just wouldn't. So it's not an animal. I'm just gonna be crossing my path. Then I get wrecked. So I learn my lesson. I go on. All right. So then several days later, and I already shared this with G, so like she can confirm, like this is a real thing. This happened. She had sent me, I think you had actually sent me like some kind of like spiritual reel or something that we were sharing back and forth. And I had logged into social to see this reel. I see this reel and I'm watching it and I scroll off of it. And the next thing that pops up is like Amazon delivery people who are like caught on camera, like singing and falling and doing all kinds of stuff, right? It was funny.
Carlos.
I don't know. I think that
Oh,
was
yeah.
hilarious. So I was like, okay, starting my morning. And then I go to scroll off of it actually, but it went to the next reel. And all of a sudden it's this girl, it's a reel of this girl who's walking in to the house and she's got this little thing wrapped in a blanket and she's showing her mom and she's like, "Mom, look what I found in the barn." And it's a skunk. Okay? And it's a baby skunk, okay? And then they're
They don't
taking it to
spray.
the vet.
Yeah,
Stop.
because they're
They
little
don't
baby skunks. They
spray.
don't spray.
Oh my God, is it
Yeah,
the
and the
cutest little
next
thing ever?
yeah, and so she's giving it a bath. She takes it to the vet because like apparently they can remove their like scent
Yeah,
sacs or whatever when they're
sack.
young,
Does
whatever.
their
I don't
mom
know.
reject them or something
Well,
if
I
they've
know
Oh,
it was
been
a
away?
loan. Okay, but it was a loan
Okay,
or
I'm sorry.
whatever.
I'm
Okay.
going off
So
course.
I'm watching this yeah, so I'm watching this reel, right? And I'm like, all of a sudden it dawns on me. I was like, I have literally never seen a skunk anything. Okay? Like not a reel, not a video, nothing. And all of a sudden I hear, "You've learned the lesson, and now here's your answer." And it hits me in the chest like you wouldn't believe. And now I'm a wreck again because I didn't expect to get an answer, and that's when it came. Was like I had learned my lesson, I had shut it down, and the next thing I know, this appears out of nowhere with that voice that said to me, "You've learned the lesson. Now here's your answer." And it was like out of kindness to me. Like I wasn't even expecting it anymore, and it came. And I was like, "Okay." But I also have learned like I'm not doing it again. I'm not asking the thing, but like how beautifully kind that was of God, creator spirit, to answer me when I least expected it. And the video was really cute. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is nuts. Okay, you can't make this up." Which is why I'm
yeah.
sharing it in case you watched the other one. This happened. Okay? So that happened and then the next day, um a really good friend of mine, she and I used to work together a few years ago and then we both left the organization. I went one way, she went the other and we just haven't spoken to one another. Life gets in the way, and she was busy doing her thing, and I'm busy doing my thing. And then all of a sudden, I'm at the end of my workday, and all of a sudden, my phone lights up, and it's her. And I'm like, "Holy shit!" Like I haven't heard from her in a minute, and I love this woman. Okay, and she's actually going to come on and talk with us. So she's going to be one of our guests, and she's like, you're going to love her. Like she's amazing. She's incredible. Um, so she calls me and out of nowhere, she's got a new opportunity for me to pursue now. And then we start talking about some other things that are like big to come, right? And I'm like, I get it. So we have an amazing conversation. We catch up, whatever. I get off the phone and I'm like, and I have to say, like that, the time that she called me, I wouldn't have normally been available. I have a class at the gym during that time. But the client that I was working for needed something so last minute that I was like, son of a bitch, I'm not going to make it to my class. I was so mad. And I was like, fine, I'll do it. Like, whatever, I'll get this done. But that's what made me stay behind to get her call. So if you think that the universe is not orchestrating things on your behalf, when you don't even like I couldn't make any of this stuff happen, these couple of
Right.
examples. But that's what's happening. And so when you say like, listen, don't ask questions, don't ask. It's better that you don't. It's better that you don't even ask because I can't even make any of this stuff happen for myself. I couldn't even imagine how some of these things are starting to come in and align. And we've talked about this before. It's like when you are magnetic and you are doing your thing, okay, and you are following the path and you are growing and ascending and doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing and they're showing you you are becoming a magnet. That's why all these things are starting to just flow into,
Yeah.
your reality, right? Like I couldn't like listen, my girl, like I hadn't even I haven't even seen her and it was amazing. One, it's just like she's a beautiful person and I like so glad she's back in my reality and my life and maybe even in a bigger way now, depending on how these other things work out, but like it's just it's just like things that I wanted to share, because we've talked about these things and now I have tangible examples to start to show you like this starts to happen. And this is just the beginning. We're going to have so many things like this to start sharing. It's going to be amazing. Just be incredible. Incredible. Okay. Towley, I noticed that you're wearing a Towley. Are you wearing a Towley sweatshirt?
This one
Yeah.
comes in. She says, "Here's a package for you," and I'm like, "What is it?" She goes, I don't know. It's for you. It's got your name on it." And I look, and
That's
it's got her
amazing.
name. And I said, "What did you do?"
Oh my
So
God.
I had my hair up, and I was like, "Oh, it worked good today." And then I said, because I had just gotten home from work and nails. So I
Oh,
said,
nice.
"Ooh, I'll just slap this on."
That is incredible. I love
And the
it.
next
Towley in a
one, I
Towley
will be
sweatshirt.
wearing
A
my
Towley.
hat from you. I love this. I can't believe this is my first Towley
That's
stuff.
incredible. I love
It's
it. I
been,
love it.
well, how old is Liv?
She's 12 going on
Well,
13 this
Well,
year. Been
I've
that
been
long.
Aunt Towley for 12 years.
yep.
So I can't believe this is my first
This is your first time.
Towley's. Yes, I love it.
Towley.
I'm
Towley.
very,
I love it.
very flattered and honored.
I love it.
Uh,
It is
nice.
you.
I love
I
it.
love it.
I love it.
Okay.
T is for Towley.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So I'm going to go into the come up. And the come up, I'm going to be kind of brief with this today. But there were some things that I was shown this week that came up. And I thought, this is something that I think I felt really compelled to address. And it's about how you need to have discernment. Discernment is part of the awakening. And what I mean is discernment around mental health if you're going through a spiritual awakening. Okay. Because the truth is that they can look very similar. Spiritual awakening and mental health challenges can overlap in ways that are almost indistinguishable. Like, and we've talked about some of these things before, like racing thoughts, intense emotions, feeling disconnected from reality, because you do have times where that happens. We talk about all
Yep.
the time. You start to see things and hear things. And so there's that heightened sensitivity, isolation that happens. Because when you're going through a dark night, listen, you have to isolate. Like you just like you can't, it's like, how do you explain it, G? Like it's so overwhelming.
All your senses are all firing at the same time. Just think of it as like a raw nerve. Like everything is
Yes,
raw. And
that's
if
right.
you engage with anything outside of yourself,
Yeah.
it just adds to it. It adds noise, it adds tension,
Yeah.
it adds chaos.
It is. It is. And my heart goes out to because like we've said this before, it's like when this hits in your life, a spiritual awakening, a dark night of the soul, an ego degradation, when this hits for you, like your life is still going. And so like
Yep.
if you're somebody that has to be like out front or in a work setting, in an office, in life, whatever you're doing, man, that is so challenging because I'm telling you, when this hits, it's all that you can do to try to keep it together and keep it moving. I just want to acknowledge that. So there is this thread. And so I was thinking about this a lot this week because there were a lot of times during my awakening and journey where I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, am I just losing it? Like, is this a mental health crisis? Like, am I like, I don't, gee, did that happen for you? Did you ever question that?"
Um, no, I mean, but again, are such different personalities. It wasn't like a mental health like with me, I'm like, the fuck is wrong? Like weak ass bitch. Like what? Knock it
Okay, well,
off.
you went a different
Like
you went a different way.
Knock that
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
again, I went like full bore, like let's lift the world. Let's be
Right.
on the stairmaster for an hour.
Yes.
Like, I will blare the music so loud where I just try to ignore it. I don't know. I don't know.
That's funny that you said that though, because that's when I started really getting back into health and fitness and like
Mhm.
my lifting classes and all that kind of thing is when this hit for me. I know that sounds bizarre.
Yep.
Maybe there's a connection there, but it's almost
No,
like
you're
your mind, like your body is trying to work it out. Like I don't know what
yeah.
that is, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, no, and your body's trying to realign again with your spirit, with your mind, with your soul. It's trying to get
Yeah.
you back in line because you're in a healthier place. Once you have all of this information, once you embody that, it wants a healthy temple, if you will,
Yeah,
to
it
like
does.
be stored in.
It
So
does. It does.
it's gonna push you and be like,
Oh, yeah. It is.
you're
It
gonna
is.
you're gonna make sure this is good.
It's bizarre, and we've talked about this a little bit too, like, when this does hit, yeah, it's aligning your mind, body, and soul, and it's also, like, all of a sudden, like, your food, like, even the food that
Doesn't
you
taste
eat,
right.
yeah, it's gonna change. It's bizarre.
Yep.
It's almost like where, like, you might grab something quick and unhealthy, like, now you'll be like, "Yeah, nah, that's not really what
No.
I want." Like, I'm telling you, it's not, and I always have eaten very balanced. Like I do a lot of cooking. I grow stuff. Like I've been like that. So
So
it wasn't as big of a shift for me, but like I'm
heavy.
telling you, even the things that I would often go off on, I just like it doesn't do it for me anymore. Your appetite
Good
changes, like
for you.
everything changes. It just doesn't. It's
Yeah.
like I wish that I
Well,
would say like I'm doing it like on my own, but it's like no, it's just doing it.
yeah, no. I mean, but you guys used to laugh at me because I was just like, I don't know, what do you eat? I don't know. I hunt and forage for my food.
Yeah,
Well,
you do.
besides cheese, but
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, if it's
That's
not like
about
a
it.
nut or so, like I don't want it. I don't.
Yeah, you
I don't want
almost
it.
like it that's so weird because like you almost yeah, you want all the grounded things like,
Hmm.
fruit, nuts, berries, like vegetables, like I'm telling you,
Yeah,
grains. If it comes
that's
from
it.
the earth, it's almost like that's what your body starts to crave. It's so weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, I digress. But so kind of back to this the difference. And so the difference isn't always in what you feel, it's in how it behaves and how it affects your life and whether you're grounded in it. I put together some like kind of key differences to watch for if you're going through a spiritual awakening and maybe because there are several people that maybe like if you already have mental health issues or things that you're dealing with and then a spiritual awakening hits like so we'll just kind of go through this. So here's some key differences to watch. So like all right, grounded versus unstable. In spiritual awakening, even though it's intense, there's a thread of awareness. Like this is happening for a reason. Like you understand
Yeah.
that you're in a time period of this, that it's not going to last forever. You just know. I don't know how you know, but you just know. I just have to get to the other side of this.
Hmm.
They're kind to let you know that. Like it's an inner knowing. You can observe what you're feeling, even if it's uncomfortable. That's spiritual awakening. For mental health challenges, it might feel chaotic, consuming, hard to step outside of your thoughts. If you
Yeah.
feel like you're losing
Or if it's
control versus,
endless.
right, losing control versus expanding your awareness, that's something
Yeah.
to take note of. Okay. So if that's happening for you, but I gotta tell you, I had moments of this. Like there were
Spiraling.
moments of yes, of spiraling, feeling chaotic, but they wouldn't last long. It would be like maybe it was a day and then that was gone. And then it would be back
Hmm.
to this kind of brokenness, but it wasn't out of control. It was grounded brokenness, if that makes sense. I don't know. The second thing is like insight versus confusion or spiraling. In awakening,
Yeah.
this leads to insights, to clarity, even if it's uncomfortable. Patterns start making sense over time. So you start to see things differently, clearer, not like where if you're in a kind of a mental health crisis, you might have loops and spirals and repetitive distress
Yeah.
without resolution. You're stuck in the same thought cycles with no relief. Awakening doesn't do that. Awakening may shake you, but it eventually reveals, some kind of clarity. So you're not stuck in those
Yeah.
spirals and loops where mental distress tends to trap you. Other difference is like waves versus constant overwhelm. So in awakening, it comes, and we've talked about this before, it comes in waves. Okay. So you have these intense moments followed by, some kind of more stillness, like so that whatever is coming in is integrating into your body,
Yeah.
your soul, whatever, and you can kind of come back to your baseline. All right. So it's not constant on you, but when it does hit, it's like a wave. Okay. Where like mental
And you
health,
usually can
you,
take something away from it. So you can
yes,
understand something from it.
yes. Yeah, so like what I shared last week when I was talking about my self-worth wound, I mean that lasted maybe a total of 2 days for me, okay? But as I was dying a slow death from that, okay, and facing that wound about myself, I was also getting clarity about what was happening to me, like why I was feeling this way, what was being dealt with, where I needed to trust in myself and my self-worth. So there was clarity, and then once I understood that, it lessened and it pulls back, it pulls away. And it's like it's different. Where like some mental health issues, like it could be persistent, it's daily interference in your life. There's no real off switch. It's constant or worsening. And if there's no break, your system might be overloaded, in that scenario. That's not just awakening. Awakening does have ebbs and flows. Okay. And this is kind of the thing that's like the biggest one that I would have to do these checks for myself because I was like, I had never experienced something like this before. If you've experienced this, you're gonna vibe with us. You're gonna understand exactly what we're talking about. And if you haven't, and then if for some reason in your life this hits, you're going to be able to balance and know the difference. Awakening, this is kind of like that functionality check. And this is a big one where awakening, you may withdraw temporarily, like that isolation, like you were saying, G, because
Yep.
it's like a raw nerve. Okay.
Mhm.
But you can still function overall. You're still able to care for yourself, to work, to maintain some stability, but then you might go back into isolation for a period of hours or a day because it's just like it's overwhelming. But you're still able to get up and function,
Yep.
it's just a little more difficult than it probably normally is. Where with mental health, one of the concerns would be like if you're struggling to get out of bed or to eat or to work or to maintain relationships and your daily life is being disrupted in a significant way, that's probably more of a mental health issue that is depleting you of your ability to function. Where awakening, it stretches you, but you're still able to do those daily things.
Mhm.
And then there's like the whole reality testing. And this is where you don't play around with this stuff, right? So with awakening, your intuition, we told you, you'll start to hear things, see things, have a knowing of things that start to happen, but it's grounded. It's not frantic. It's not fearful. You can question your thoughts. You're very clear headed. And I would always say this too, because like to myself, this is the check I would do. I'd be like, okay, yeah, starting to hear things. I'm starting to see visions of things. I'm starting to have this inner knowing of things, but I didn't feel out of control. I didn't feel like I was having a mental health issue. Like I really was experiencing these things. It was very grounded.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know how else to say that. I mean, you just kind of know. And I was very rational in my thoughts about everything else in my life. Everything else was just my work was rational, my daily living and habits were rational, the same that they always were. I didn't have anything else. It was just this part of me was just being stretched and increased and just different. Where some mental health red flags are like you're starting to hear and see things that others don't. Paranoia. So, like, if people, you feel like people are out to get you, this kind of absolute certainty in something that disconnects you completely from your reality of your life. If reality feels distorted and unsafe, that's not something to spiritualize. That's something to get support for. So, the balanced truth is if you are going through a spiritual awakening and maybe you have some mental health issues or concerns, it doesn't have to be an either or. And even if you don't, or maybe you struggled with anxiety or depression or something like that, and a spiritual awakening hits, because that's probably going to increase those other symptoms. It doesn't have to be an either or. You can be awakening and have mental health challenges at the same time. In fact, awakening often activates what was already there, whether it's trauma. We've talked a lot about that because they're bringing up these traumas, these wounds, these things that are happening, behavioral patterns, anxiety, depression. So the goal isn't to label everything like, oh, well, this is spiritual and this is clinical. It's that, no, you want to use your discernment to say, you know what, I know I'm going through an awakening, but it's triggering these things in me, and I need the support of a professional to help me deal with these traumas that I'm remembering and these childhood wounds that I've been carrying and whatever. Like, that is a perfectly normal thing to go get help for, because that's what these professionals are there for. And so
Mhm.
you can be both. It's totally fine. If you feel like it's helping you grow, expand, and understand yourself in some way, then it's likely an awakening. If it's making you feel unsafe, out of control, or unable to function, this is when you need to get some help. Even if you are going through a spiritual awakening and these things happen, we're all different. We all need different things. And so, listen, getting help does not mean you're not spiritual and you're not doing it wrong. You haven't fallen off your path. And it doesn't mean that you're failing at this. It means that you're doing this responsibly. And so
Yep.
I just felt really called to share this because there's nothing. Listen, I think mental health is something that is so stigmatized in our today's day and age, and it sucks. Okay. I have a
Yep.
lot of really amazing, badass people in my life that do an amazing job, like handling mental health issues with the support of teams and, therapists, and medical professionals. And I love that, when I know people and I meet people that are like, yeah, man, like I love that I get support for this. And and they're very open about it. I think if more people were open about that, the stigma would go away, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
it's part of your health. It's like managing, like, if you had a heart disease or diabetes or
Mhm.
whatever the hell, okay? Like, these are conditions that sometimes that people have because either the way that they came up, their environments, chemical, like sometimes it's chemical imbalances. It's like, give people a break. We are definitely people that absolutely 100% support therapy and help and medical professionals, especially in the mental and behavioral health space. Like, I can't underscore that enough.
Mhm.
This is part of your self worth. Fuck whatever anybody says. Who gives a shit? This is about you being your best version of
Mhm.
yourself. And
Mhm.
however you get there is how you get there. And
Yep.
some of us can do that on our own, and just need support here and there. And then there are some of us that require the support of other people and individuals more so than others. That doesn't make me or you any more or less than each other. It's like, it doesn't fucking matter. It's like,
Nope.
however you
Long as
need.
it works and gets you to where you need to be.
Exactly.
Indeed.
The best version of yourself. But I just wanted to really kind of call that out about mental health, spiritual awakening, because, we have playfully said some things about, like, oh, you feel crazy or whatever. And it's like,
Mhm.
in talking to one of my friends this week, she was like, Wendy, Rightfully so, she's correcting me. She's like, "You're one of the most grounded people that I know. Like, you just like, and you could tell me that like an alien ship landed in your backyard, and I'd be like, yeah, that shit
It
happened
did.
because you're grounded, and I know that." And so she's like, instead of explaining this away and trying to downplay it as like there's something defective about you, what I want you to start to do is I want you to start to say, I know that you've probably had some type of experience about what I'm about to share with you, because she's like, at the end of the day, we're all spiritual beings. So
Mhm.
the fact that you're having a more heightened sense of spirituality at this point of your life doesn't mean that somebody else won't be able to relate to what you're saying. They just may not be at that level yet, or they just
Correct.
may not have
Yep.
their eyes open to it just yet. But there's a reason why that you have. And so you need to always speak about it in a way that is very grounded and that is very confident and that is very, hey, it is what it is. Like, I'm a
Matter of
spirit
fact.
person. Yeah, very matter of fact. And I really appreciated that correction from her because she's
Mhm.
right. She's absolutely right. And so that's how I will be speaking about it from now on. It's like, this is what's happened and this is what it is. But for whoever needed to hear that, and for whoever it has gone through an awakening, you're going to understand why we're sharing this message, because there are points in it where you're like, man, I don't know. Like, what is happening to me? And it's not just all the spiritual gifting things, like where you hear things and you see things. That wasn't the thing that made me question it. It was like the depths of emotional turmoil that I went through for some of the wounds that were coming up, okay? Because it just takes it from you. But then, like I said, it's not constant, it's like in waves. And then there's clarity about what's happening to you. So you're like, like remember I said I like write it all down in my notebooks and stuff
Mhm.
because I would know, I would understand what the hell was happening to me. I don't even know. It's like they tell you. It's bizarre, but also amazing. But anyway, so I just wanted to share that.
My awakening was a lot different than yours because I went my entire life with the rage. See, now you're raging things where
Yeah.
I went my entire life raging. So
Yeah.
now I don't want to rage anymore. I don't
Right.
I
You're
don't want to have
tired.
to do that. I'm
Yeah.
40 years, man.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's almost a lifetime for some folks. Okay. If they even get that far. That's a long time. Yeah, I didn't have all of those experiences, but like you said, like my experiences were not great either, but they were different. They were a
Yeah.
different sort of not great.
And
Yours
the
were
funny thing is, right, so
nuts.
yours were all the, like, emotional whatever.
Yeah.
Mine were a lot of physical, lot of physical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that is, like, again, I said our paths had to be so different that we were broken to be able to come together and fit all of these puzzle pieces together and
Yeah.
awaken different so we could
Yeah.
different but the same? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Like
could be
there
like a
is
clear path for
commonality.
everybody.
Yeah. There's a commonality there. I mean, you do, like you said, you represent kind of like physical awfulness on one side, and I have the same level of awfulness, but in the emotional sense on the other side. So, like
Yeah.
some of like the emotional stuff that and said abandonment, rejection, religious trauma, being misunderstood for who I was, I mean, that was so deep on the
Yeah,
other
you were
side,
too busy
okay?
trying to be not gay. I don't pray the gay
Yeah,
away
I
and all
mean,
that. Like you couldn't.
yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, and like I said, we weren't so like this was all happening for you and as like, there's a 4-year age gap between us.
Mhm.
So like you were little and like in that case like I was already like heading to middle school and whatever. So there was enough of a gap where it was like you were a kid and I was a little bit,
Annoying. I was annoying little kid.
yeah, like you were the little kid, but you know, I don't know, like we just we're in the same house, but we just weren't like two ships passing in the night kind of
Mhm.
for all that stuff going on with you and then, I just yeah, I was dealing with other things too. So I guess what I want to say about all of this is like One is, I think the world is a different place today. Thank God for some of these
Yep.
issues that come up, right? It was just a different time. And so, because like some people might be like, yo, like if your parents weren't listening and whatever, like, can't you go tell somebody? It's like, well, who are you going to tell? Back then,
Yep.
it was just different. It was different. I'm telling you, it was a
Mhm.
different system. And I'm not saying any sort of thing about that. It's just that's a fact. It just was. Today, if you're a kid and something's happening to you, and like let's say you're in a family system that's not providing the safety or the support, there are such good, or at least I think better. I'm not saying they're perfect, but there are better systems in place to get help as a kid or as somebody that might need an adult to intervene, or an older person that has experience or whatever.
Maybe there's somebody else out there that's, our age. We're older,
Yeah.
whatever, and you carried it.
Yes.
You carried
Yeah,
it
I'm
for all the
sure.
years.
Oh,
Put it
100%.
down.
There's 100%. 100%
Yep.
there are people that are in our generation, and maybe even the one below us.
Before us.
Definitely the one before us. Oh, okay. You
Mhm.
kidding me? Like
Oh, yeah.
those folks are ironclad people right there. They just took it and they just buried it and moved on.
Mhm.
And those are the folks that were raising us. So
Right.
there you go.
Right.
And then our generation started to do something different. And then the next one definitely did something different. And so that's
Yep.
improving as it goes. But yeah, I'm sure that there are people that are our age that are out there that have these wounds and these things. And if you do, you know what? It goes along with the message that I shared was like, I don't care what it is for you that you might be facing. All of us, and I'm telling you, as somebody that's had to do this for many years in my life, that's why they have people that can help you with these things. Like, don't be
Yep.
so prideful to say, like, I can't get help for this or I can't reveal this stuff or whatever. It's like, no, that's why these people are there. Like, they are
Yep.
trained to help you get through some of the things that this wasn't your fault. Like, you need to have a different perspective, and they're trained to help you grow and to heal through some of these wounds. So, again, we're big advocates of that here. Start with a conversation with somebody that you feel that you trust and that you feel comfortable with. The other thing that I'll say about that too is like, don't just accept, if you seek out a mental health a person, a therapist, to help you, don't just accept whatever like the system gives you, or who's referred. It's like, oh, well, this person has a spot, so go see them. No, no. Mm-mm. This is something where you advocate for yourself. And if you don't feel that connection with that therapist and that person, then it's okay to say, like, yeah, we're just not a fit for each other. And you just keep going until you find that right fit. I can't underscore that enough because I had that happen to me initially. It was like I got landed with somebody originally. I was like, yeah, I did not feel that connection. And I was like, yeah, no, no, but I stuck with it for a little bit, and then I was like, "No, this isn't working for me." And then I just chalked it up to like, "Oh, this doesn't work." I was like, "No, no," because then when I did meet my person, it was like, "Yeah, that was a vibe." Right? Because she saw me, she got me. Like, that's so important. And choose that for yourself. So it's like, listen, you're interviewing them just like, and again, these aren't bad people. If you just don't have a fit, it's just like you don't have a fit. It's just like
Yep.
anything else. Because if this is somebody that's going to help you and that you are going to share some of these things that happened with you, it's like you've got to be comfortable and you've got to feel seen and you've got to feel heard. And everybody does that in a different way. So advocate for yourself and find the right person to help you through those things. So I'm just adding that because I'm just telling you that's from my own experience. You
Yeah,
want to
the
get the
first
right
one
one.
that I think mom brought me to, and when I
Yep.
was like 16, 18, something like that, like literally was like, I don't know how you're not lesbian.
And then your
That
sister
was
was. Maybe it's how I
right.
got to be one. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
They channeled it to
Yep.
me. They're like, "Okay, all this stuff's gonna happen to your sister, but you're gonna be the one that comes out of the closet." But she was in the closet most of the time, but you're the one that's
Yep.
actually gonna come out of the closet in real life.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Oh, it's craziness. I
It
don't
was so
know.
good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you would think, okay, but that's one of the arguments, by the way. That's one of the arguments that some
Yeah.
really stupid people give for people being homosexual is like, facing like like mistreatment from opposite sex partners or people in their lives or whatever, and they're like, yeah, that's what makes you gay. It's like, okay, I can stand here and tell you that unlike you, like that's never happened to me, thank God. It's one of the things that I'm at least very grateful about. So you can take that argument right off the table. So in this situation, yeah, you should have been the one that was gay, according to that stupid logic. But I'm
But
the
you know
one
what
that's
it
gay
did?
because you know what? I was made gay.
Right. Well, but you know what it did do though? I will, and that was the other thing. Like, I didn't date that race. I didn't date that race
Uh,
for
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you will do that, right? I mean, because there will be like,
Yep.
subtle things that you do to kind of walk back and feel safe. Like, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. It does. It's very much
Yep.
a conscious thing that happens. But
Yep.
the argument that like, being gay is a mental health issue, there's something wrong with you mentally, you've been abused, all this stuff. Nah, you know what? I was just gay from the get. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
just in my DNA. Sorry. Sorry to
Mhm.
disappoint you, but that's just the way I'm made. So that, I mean, I just think it's a perfect argument. I was like, yeah,
It is.
you can take that and go bury it somewhere because it doesn't hold any weight. Okay. And I'm telling you right now, at
I
least
mean,
from
it
our
could have an
generation,
effect. It could have an effect. I mean, there is people that it
yeah,
has have an effect. But like I said, like I didn't date the race, but there are people that won't won't date, you know, a man after it happens to him either.
sure. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I'm not,
But that's
so
not
it's not like a one size fits all, but what I'm doing is
right.
I'm using this scenario with us
Yeah.
to dispel that stupid, blanket statement of like, this is why
I
you're
didn't get the
gay.
gay. I didn't
Yeah,
get the
because you should
gay
have been
from
way
it.
more gay than I was. Like that wasn't it's like you should be the one that's
And
walking
that
around that's
is
gay.
just the beginning. That's just the beginning. We've
Yeah.
got way more. We've got
Yeah,
way
I
more.
know.
I
All
should have
them
been
triggers.
all the way. I should have been a
My God.
5-star,
You should have. Yeah, but you weren't. And that's
gold
the thing
star.
is like, yeah, you should have been a gold star.
Yeah.
For sure. No, but it ends up being me.
Way to
So
take that one. Good job.
hey, listen, that's a thing that I will happily take. I'm so proud to be gay. Like I can't even tell you. And that's such a weird statement to make, probably, but
Yep.
I really
I
am.
think it's great.
I seriously am. Like, I've had people say to me like, "Oh, I feel bad that you're." I was like, "Are you kidding me? Don't!" Like, I'm so happy to be
Yeah.
gay. I can't even tell you. Oh my God, it's like one of those joys in my life where sorry,
Mhm.
it's not like I feel any sort of way about people being heterosexual. I love those people too, but it's like for me personally, do you know how fulfilling that is for me? Like for me, nah, that's home for me. Like I
Mhm.
told you, I've even told Spirit, I'm like, listen, if I gotta incarnate again, like if I come down an eighth time,
Let it be the
whatever,
gay.
like I'm always gonna be gay. Like I'm always gonna be a lesbian. Sorry, that's just part of the contract. Like where's that? Where's that here? I need to read that. Make sure that that's the case, okay? And you know what's crazy? I was thinking about this the other day. Speaking of being gay, I don't know how we got on this topic, but whatever.
Mm.
Um, I was thinking the other day, about how people's logic around being gay and God hates gays and all this nonsense. This is one of the arguments. It's like if I shouldn't have been the one that was gay. You should have, according to the logic that's out there. Okay, it was like no, I should have been so straight. It's not funny. Okay, so there's that. And number two, it's like, no, I wasn't wounded. That there was no wound. I mean, listen, I've had a lot of wounds. There's
Right.
no wound that makes me gay. No, I was gay before any of those wounds. Like I didn't even know what those wounds
Mhm.
were until more recently in my life. I've
Yeah.
been gay for decades before that ever happened. So there's that. So that dispels that. But then I was thinking about the beautiful magic of this. Um, and maybe it's not going to be as profound to anybody else, but it really hit me as profound because I want to show like this is how purposeful that God is. I have a counterpart. You know what makes that magical is that what I'm telling you, like your inside stuff, so like the twin stuff, like you say, like your inside stuff is exactly the same frequency. If it wasn't, okay. And again, I didn't know about all this stuff. I couldn't have made this up. I had to discover what the hell was going on with me, right? As this was happening. She's gay too. That's the magic of this. Because think about it. She could have been a whole heterosexual. She could have been out there loving dudes.
I thought it was
Okay.
gonna be something
I was like,
revelation,
what?
like
She said,
No, but
she's
I
revelation
know
gay.
day,
that's
like
simple.
oh my
Okay,
god,
but
she's gay too.
no, but
No,
think
it's
about this.
it's cute.
But think about how profound that is. I mean, I know it's simple, God,
God.
obviously, but no, but seriously, I know that's a
Maybe.
very simple truth, but think about how magical that is.
See you.
Joking. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Okay, maybe it was just profound for
No.
me. What I'm saying is that God
There wouldn't
has
have been a
that being.
connection.
Yes, there wouldn't have been a connection, and it wouldn't have been intentional.
Right.
It's intentionally designed that way. Okay? I mean,
No.
I'm just saying. I don't
Don't
know.
do that.
I just thought it was profound. I don't know.
I see.
Okay.
Anyways, I think it's story time with
It's
Tali.
it is story time with Tali. I feel like we need like some kind of like music to lean
Mhm.
into.
I know. I'll have to start putting a music track over the story
Yeah.
time with Tali segment.
So
Oh God, I don't even know. She's pulling it out of a bag in the back. I don't even know what's happening right now.
Jeez, I don't know.
these are
Who
ones that
knows?
I was gifted by one of you.
Okay.
One of me.
You or you.
One of you.
Notice
Yep,
Okay.
go
for
for it.
today's fabulous read, we're going to do Scissor Me Timbers. I don't know if you can hear that. Scissor Me Timbers. I'll say it again.
Oh my
Scissor
God.
Me Timbers. Justin Orlando.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh my
All right.
God. Okay. All
And
right.
on
Well,
the
here
front,
we
it
go.
says the Scissoring Club Thursday nights.
Thank God.
Okay.
You got a special
Hey.
night for it.
It's so great.
Oh.
It's kind of, like ladies' night, but you can't do that now anymore.
Oh God.
Oh my
I mean, you
God.
can.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
So-
yeah, but
The crafters meet every Thursday night
Oh,
in the town of
crafters.
Lesbine.
Stop. Stop.
A kettle simmers, they sharpen blades, they sip their tea and giggle. Scissor me timbers.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Man. Okay.
Patty brings lace ribbons pink. Huh? Patty brings lace ribbons pink, while Jill has her hearts that glimmer. They snip the line and overlap. They laugh. Scissor me timbers. And in the little boxes above their heads, one
Yeah.
says, Patty's going to touch my pinks, but I'm not going to use my hands. There's Patty and her friend.
God.
Isn't that great?
Oh man.
Margot
Okay.
sprinkles sparkle dust, while B has bows and shimmer. They
Oh
sweat,
boy.
they press, their fingers stuck. Scissor me timber.
This book. Oh man. Wow.
New girl Lila joins with glee. Her
New
fabric's
girl.
never slimmer. She sighs, You've cut right through my square. Oops, scissor me timber.
Is this something that you just have to say throughout your whole time there? Apparently.
I guess so. Dot tangles yarn like spaghetti strands. May pulls her patience thinner. They knot, they twist, they finally finish. Triumphant, scissor me timbers.
My God.
Have you ever
Oh,
yelled out "Scissor
wow.
me timbers"?
I
just
don't think
asked
so.
it for a
Not
friend.
until today. And I
Okay.
think it's so much fun. I love it.
No. No.
Nell wants speed, Claire wants style. They challenge each beginner. Snip for snip, they tie the round, quivering, scissor me timbers.
Mhm.
God. Oh, this is
They line up squares that cover a gash, a pastel plaid and shimmer. Their seams align, their smiles shine wide. Perfection, scissor me timbers.
oh
I think
my
these square covers the slit well enough.
oh my
Oh,
God.
God.
Okay.
I didn't write it. Toy stickers, glitter galore. They work with craft store vigor. They want me to do something different. Watch. Toy stickers, glitter galore. They work with craft store vigor. You know, vigorous.
Vigor.
Get it?
Yes.
Flo says, cut deeper,
Yes.
rip into it. Rita
Oh,
shrieks,
God.
scissor me
Oh,
timbers.
my God.
She said, I said tear it up. Aw, now your fingers smell like me.
Oh
God.
my God.
Now every
Okay.
pair is hard at work. The chatter grows much dimmer. snips and sink a rhythmic tune, all chanting, "Scissor me timbers." Hooray for no risk of pregnancy.
My God. Oh,
That's so awesome. I'm not done.
Oh, wow.
I know you wish. They hold their tool toward the light, a masterpiece that glimmers. Each slit was worth it, Patty sighs softly. Scissor me timbers. See you next Thursday.
no. Why is she gonna
Oh, I get it.
I don't know.
body
See you
suit?
next Thursday. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
They cheer, they dance, confetti flies. No wood here, no splinters. They toast to scissoring, to
wow.
friends, to fun in chorus.
Yeah.
Scissor me timbers! And then in the little box over here, it says, "It smells heavenly in here, like Red Lobster. Anyway, someone should mop this up."
Oh my God.
And then this says, "So if you scissor with love and glee
wow.
and keep your fingers limber, you can call up the girls for a night of fun. Just whisper sweet, scissor me timbers." Wow. So
Oh,
thank
this
you,
was
Justin
something.
Orlando. This has been a public service announcement.
Okay. Maybe you've got a
Jesus.
class like this in your local town.
Listen, I don't know. Who knows?
Might
I mean,
be.
are Michaels, like,
If I
remember
get-
when
listen.
Michaels used to do classes? Maybe they're running this class
Yup,
at Michaels.
right?
You should check your Michaels schedule. Your
Oh,
local
God.
Could you
Michaels
imagine?
class
Could you check
schedule.
your local Michaels?
schedule.
Scissor me timbers.
You should call and
Right.
be like, "Do you have a class called Scissor Me Timbers?" Just asking for a friend. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yikes. Holy crap. Okay. Wow. This is something.
You're welcome.
I'm all disheveled.
Holly, you
over
never
here. Scissor me
disappoint with
timbers.
that. Okay.
Listen, I get these as gifts.
I know. Those gift givers are
Gifts be
amazing. I'm telling
gifting.
you. Telling you. You wait until you see
The
like
two of you are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait
I don't know what
until
you're talking about.
wait until we
see.
start writing our own. We keep threatening that,
I'm
but it's
telling
gonna
you,
happen.
right.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I just gotta get inspired by some things. Which I'm sure with a few glasses of wine and you broads
A
that
little
would happen.
inspiration will come
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah,
If
that
you
would happen.
break
That would
against
happen.
my hand once.
Okay, so this was this was an episode. Okay. Let's see. We came in with affirmations. I shared some of my little tales of things that have been happening that have magnetizing to me and answers that I didn't expect to receive, but I got some. Let's see. We talked about, spiritual awakening and like some mental health issues and when you need to use discernment to know the difference. And you know what? If you need help through this, like if you need professional help getting through, even just getting through a spiritual awakening, like there's no shame in that. Like you're not doing it wrong. I'm telling you, this stuff is not for the weak, okay? So if you have gone through a spiritual awakening or a dark night of the soul or a divine counterpart activation, I'm telling you right now, you are some of the baddest ass people on the face of this planet. I don't care what you have to do to get through it. I'm telling you, you are like forged in fire. I have such mad respect for anybody who's gone through this because you don't know until you know. And those of us that do know, hey, we got you. We see you. I don't care what you need to do to keep yourself healthy and become the best version of you. You do what you need to do. So don't be afraid to get help if you need it through this time. So like that's the whole overarching theme and message today is like there are many reasons why each of us may need help and support to get through, to heal through, to move through some things that have happened to us in life. Again, like we're big supporters of that here. There is no shame in that. It doesn't matter what fucking society says. This is about your best version of yourself. And that sometimes it comes with the help and support and advice from people that know how to help get you there. And Tali finished it off with a lovely little
Scissor me
tale
timber.
about a craft event that happens every Thursday
Craft night
with a
gone
bunch of
wild.
ladies called Scissor Me Timbers. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I may have done some crafty, artsy things in my life. I never had a class like that. Okay. Okay. That would have been a different kind of topic, maybe down at the local bar or something. I don't know. Maybe that was going on in the craft room in the back. I don't know. Never checked the back to know, but anyways, it was entertaining.
Maybe you should have.
anyways. I should have, like I should have like
Right.
been back there. I was like, hey, listen, I'm very artistic. So I could have run listen, bitch, I could
You
run
could have
that
run the
class.
class.
I could run that class and teach that shit. Okay, maybe that's my come up. Maybe I'm like, hey, I gotta
There you
start
go.
some scissor me timbers classes. Okay, all right. Maybe we all vote on that. Should I start scissor me timbers class?
I was,
Hey,
I
I'm gonna just
I'm
start
just here for the
firing those up.
children.
the tr-
Hey, yeah,
The
yeah,
children.
exactly. Oh my god,
In
that's
us,
hilarious.
around us, whatever. And you're here for
Exactly.
scissor me timbers.
Oh,
I like it.
hey. Okay. So anyway, so I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm just gonna leave it there, and
Got it.
we'll we'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.
See ya. Peace.